Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Ashtota Satashri Srimad Abhaya Charnaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikas Swami Niti Namane. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 6, titled Creation of the Universal Form, Text 4. Prabuddha Karma Daivena Trayaha Vimshatikaha Ganaha Preritaha Ajanayat Swabhihi Matrabhihi Adhipurusham Prabuddha Karma Daivena Prabuddha Karma Daivena Trayo Vimshatiko Ganaha Trayo Vimshatiko Ganaha Prerito Janayat Swabhir Prerito Janayat Swabhir Matrabhiradhipurusham. What's going on? Turn the thing off and turn it on. Not the TV. The Apple TV. No, Apple TV. Yeah, then it should work. Okay, let's see. See if you, okay, there, right. Prabuddha Karma Daivena Trayo Vimshatiko Ganaha Prerito Janayat Swabhir Matrabhiradhipurusham Prabuddha Karma Daivena Trayo Vimshatiko Ganaha Prerito Janayat Swabhir Matrabhiradhipurusham Please repeat. Prabuddha karma daivena Trayo vimshatiko ganaha Prerito janayat swabhir Matrabhiradi purusham Prabuddha karma daivena Trayo vimshatiko ganaha Prerito janayat swabhir Matrabhiradi purusham Prabuddha karma daivena Trayo vimshatiko ganaha Prerito janayat swabhir Matrabhiradi purusham. Matajis. Prabuddha karma daivena Trayo vimshatiko ganaha Prerito janayat swabhir Matrabhiradi purusham. Prabuddha, awakened. Karma, activities. Daivena, by the will of the Supreme. Trayaha, vimshatikaha, by the 23 principal ingredients. Ganaha, the combination. Preritaha, induced by. Ajanayat, manifested. Swabhihi, by his personal. Matrabhihi, plenary expansion. Adhipurusham, the gigantic universal form. Vishwarupa. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When the 23 principal elements were set in action by the will of the Supreme, the gigantic universal form of the Vishwarupa body of the Lord came into existence. Purport, the Virat Rupa or Vishwarupa, the gigantic universal form of the Lord, which is very much appreciated by the impersonalist, is not an eternal form of the Lord. It is manifested by the supreme will of the Lord after the ingredients of material creation. Lord Krishna exhibited this Virat or Vishwarupa to Arjuna just to convince the impersonalist that he is the original personality of Godhead. Krishna exhibited the Virat Rupa. It is not that Krishna was exhibited by the Virat Rupa. The Virat Rupa is not, therefore, an eternal form of the Lord exhibited in the spiritual sky. It is a material manifestation of the Lord. The Archa Vigraha, or the worshipable deity in the temple, is a similar manifestation of the Lord for the neophytes. But in spite of their material touch, such forms of the Lord as the Virat and Archa are non-different from him, from his eternal form as Lord Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guro Shri Utaf Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalitha Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Prabuddha karma daivena trayovimshatiko ganaha prerito janayat swabhir matrabhiradi purusham. When the 23 principal elements were set in action by the will of the Supreme, the gigantic universal form or the Vishwarupa body of the Lord came into existence. So, now in the stage of creation, the material elements have been created, the demigods have been created, and now everything has to get put into motion, put into action. So it's like you have, so say we are commissioning a carpenter or some artist. So we commission an artist to make a painting. So he's got the colors, he's got the canvas, you've got the artist also. Now everything has to come together and things have to manifest. The Supreme Lord is like the person whose will commissions the activity of the material universe. And that is what you are seeing over here. So now everything has to come together. But again, it doesn't come together without the will of the Lord. And unlike commissioning a painter, the problem with the limitation, it's not the problem, the limitation of this analogy is that we are separate to the painter, we are separate to the ingredients of the painting itself, such as the colors, the paints, the canvas, the brush, everything. We are separate. However, in the case of the Supreme Lord, these are all expansions. There is energies. So, in order for his energies to work, he himself has to enter also. That's what we see, especially in the material creation. Supreme Lord has to enter he enters into each and everything. He enters into each and every atom. And in that way, they become, because otherwise matter by itself is inert. And the Supreme Lord's will, and he enters through his will, he enters himself also through his plenary expansions. And in this way, the Supreme Lord manifests the Virata Rupa, whereby the Supreme Lord, through his inconceivable potency and supreme will, makes these material elements work together, which otherwise they don't seem like they can work together. They don't seem like these things go with each other. But the Supreme Lord, by his will, these things they work together. I mean, even in our body, it's amazing. Like, how do you understand, like, for instance, the eye? How can we understand that something made of muscles, tissue, blood has some kind of thing which is called the retina, where an image of what you are seeing is cast on that retina and then processed through neurons into your brain, and then you are able to perceive this image? I mean, how does something that has muscle and tissue be able to process something what we expect, for instance, a camera to process? This is something opaque. The retina, the eyes, it's an opaque object. Whereas generally, if you see the camera, this is like, they use glass and they use metal. It's something that's reflecting, something to capture. I mean, it's amazing. Of course, modern scientists have been able to replicate the function of the eye in the form of these cameras and things like that. Yet they cannot make elements that just don't work with each other. They cannot make them work. For instance, you have in a magnet, you have two sides. You have the North Pole and you have the South Pole. Now, like poles repel and opposite poles attract. Scientists have to work with this. Now, of course, I've heard some things like maybe increase or decrease the temperature or something changes with them, the poles and things like that. But again, it's all according to the laws of material nature. The Supreme Lord is the one who sets those laws in motion, who determines these laws, and he makes these things that are otherwise, as it said in the previous verse, where we saw that, where was it? We saw the ingredients of, you had what is called, ingredients of matter, counted as 23. Material energy, false ego, sound, touch, form, taste, smell, earth, water, fire. How does fire and touch go together. But it goes together in our body. Our body has fire, our body has a sense of touch, our body has water, it has earth. It has all these things that are somehow working with each other. We don't even know how it's working with each other. If we didn't have fire in our stomach, you can't digest. But that fire, at the same time, doesn't burn your entire body. It's just right. And, this thing that we don't, when it comes out of our bodies, it's something called mucus. It looks very ugly. It looks very, But our stomach is lined with this mucousy layer. And if you don't have that mucousy layer, you have ulcer. Because the acid that the stomach is producing, which is liquid fire, basically. It's a form. That's how fire is manifested. Fire is there in chili also. Otherwise, how do you feel the heat? You bite the chili, it feels like your tongue's on fire. You eat too many chilies, your back goes on fire. You see the fire moving through your body. As it goes through each part of your system, everything is up in flames. You say it's a flame, but where's the flame? But there's fire. So this is the amazing potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And since Srila Prabhupada is referring to the Virata Rupa in this purport, I thought we could try to go over the chapter of the universal form. So kindly pull up chapter 11 of Bhagavad Gita, text number 3. We're going to read translations mostly, and then maybe something about the purport. We'll see what we can get through. Okay. O greatest of personalities, Arjuna says, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. Text 4. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic powers, then kindly show me that unlimited universal self. Text 5. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, O son of Pritha, see now my opulences, hundreds of thousands of varied, divine and multicolored forms. O best of the Bharatas, see here the different manifestations of Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Ashwini Kumaras, and all other demigods. Behold the many wonderful things which no one has ever seen or heard of before. O Arjuna, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire. Whatever you now desire to see, and whatever you may want to see in the future, everything moving and non-moving is here, completely in one place. So, this is really amazing that Krishna is showing this universal form where Arjuna can see everything that he wants to see right now, everything that he wants to see in the future. He can see everything in the universe in this one form. And, it's completely inconceivable. Now, why? So we'll go over this a little more. Text number 8. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. Pashyame yogam aishwaram. So until this point, actually Krishna hasn't revealed his form yet. He's telling Arjuna that you're going to see all these things. See these things, but Arjuna is not able to see. Oh, you can't see. Here, divine eyes. So now Arjuna starts to see. Text 9. Sanjaya said, O king, having spoken thus, the Supreme Lord of all mystic power, the personality of God, displayed his universal form to Arjuna. Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. That form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine upraised weapons. He wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared over his body. All was wondrous, brilliant, unlimited, all expanding. If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. This universal form is also what is glorified in the Purusha Sukta prayers, where Sahasra Shirisha Purusha, Sahasraksha, Sahasrapat. So you have Sahasra Shirisha, hundreds of thousands of heads. Sahasra Akshaha, hundreds of thousands of eyes. And, so, anyways, at that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. So, an important point to note here in the purport, it indicates, Tatra there is very significant. Indicates that both Arjuna and Krishna were sitting on the chariot when Arjuna saw the universal form. Others on the battlefield could not see this form because Krishna gave the vision to Arjuna, only to Arjuna. So there's we'll go a little bit more. Then a few other people started to see it. Initially only Arjuna saw it, and then later a few other people saw it. Okay, text 14. Then bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord. Arjuna said, "My dear Lord, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes expanded everywhere without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning. On your form is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, spreading on all sides like blazing fire or the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet I see this glowing form everywhere adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs." So, here you see all these different personalities in this form. And it's the same thing, just like we have all these elements that don't naturally work with each other. The Supreme Lord, by His will, you have all these rebellious living entities, right? And all the living entities, the conditioned living entities in this universe, they want to be Krishna. And so basically, they're all interested in fighting with each other and trying to get the highest position. Sometimes they may cooperate, a few of them may cooperate, just to oppose another group of living entities. So actually, the living entities in the material world, they don't get along with each other. It's called a prison for a reason. And so in the prison, depending on the level of their what do you call severity of the crime that the prisoners have committed, they sometimes get put into cells with a lot of others, and sometimes if they incite riots within the prison system, they're given a separate cell or things like that. There are all kinds of different categories. So, but ultimately they don't get along with each other, and they all fight with each other. So, in the same way, the Supreme Lord categorizes these living entities, and they're all seen in His universal form, that somehow all these people who don't actually get along with all these different posts, and everybody has their own material ambitions and material desires and different guna, karma, taste, preferences, somehow it's all working together in the material, in the bigger scheme of things, exactly how Krishna wants it to work. And this is what Arjuna is getting to see in the universal form that Krishna is there. That Arjuna could not, before the battle happened, when Arjuna is bewildered out of affection for his family members, he's not able to see how this is something that Krishna would even want. What is that? Papameva shreye dasman hatvaita anatatayinaha tasman narha vayamantum dhartarashtran swabhandhavan. Then he says, Adharma bhibhavat Krishna. Krishna, this adharma is going to happen. How can this be something that you are encouraging? How is this something that you are encouraging? He couldn't see how this could be in the bigger picture of things. And this universal form demonstrates that. And that is also why it's important for us to read. Why is all this universal form constantly described? Because just like Arjuna was unable to see something that was very painful, something that was very disturbing, how could this all be Krishna's plan? And what the heck do I have to do with this? I don't want to have anything to do with this. Even if this is your plan, bye. I have my own plan. I have my own expectation of how devotional service should happen. And Krishna is like, no, that's not how you do it. This is how you're going to do it. And that bigger picture of things, of which we are a small, small part, is very important to understand. Arjuna is also a small part in that big picture that Krishna is showing Arjuna. In fact, Arjuna feels very insignificant after seeing the universal form. But yet, that is what, and then, so let's continue seeing what Arjuna is seeing. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. This is my opinion. You are without origin, middle, or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance. Although you are one, you spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O great one, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed. So now, so then Prabhupada says that in the purport. He says, the words, Dyava Pritivyoho and Lokatrayam are significant words in this verse, because it appears that not only did Arjuna see this universal form of the Lord, but others in other planetary systems saw it also. All of whom the Lord endowed with divine vision saw that universal form on the battlefield. Okay, next verse. All the hosts of demigods are surrendering before you and entering into you. Some of them, very much afraid, are offering prayers with folded hands. Hosts of great sages and perfected beings, crying, all peace, are praying to you by singing the Vedic hymns. So, this is the other thing, that it's sometimes, even for devotees, as you can see here, even for Arjuna, even for the demigods and the sages, this universal form is disturbing. Why? Because it's painful. Ultimately, if you look at the bigger picture of that, the Supreme Lord is creating this universe for the sake of facilitating these conditioned souls. Their unlawful propensity to enjoy separately from Krishna, but such unlawful propensity is always going to produce disturbing results. Just like a good person, when he sees the prison, when he sees the way the prisoners are being treated, it's painful. At the same time, he cannot deny its need. So, when you get to see that whole picture, it's disturbing. And not only that, it's also disturbing to see how, for devotees, we like to see the sweet form of the Lord, His loving reciprocation with the devotees. We like to hear about these things. But the same Supreme Lord, in His expansion in this material world, in the dispensation of karma, in the dispensation of universal justice, has a very, very cruel side to display. And that cruel side shows the detachment that the Supreme Lord has. It shows His supreme renunciation, and it shows Him as the supreme controller of everyone. That no matter how rebellious the souls may be, and no matter how much He loves them, ultimately He is supreme, and He will always remain supreme. And no one can take that Supreme Lord for granted or for a ride. And when it sees that, this whole exhibition of supreme power, it's fearful and it's disturbing. It's also disturbing because sometimes we expect the Supreme Lord to do certain things, even to devotees. Right? When you see devotees, sometimes we ourselves or persons dear to us may be acting in ways that may not be the best for them, but we may wish them the best, but if such devotees don't rectify their behavior, which is anti-devotional, the administration of justice is not going to wait. Krishna will wait, he'll be patient, he'll give them chances and this and that, but then comes Maya. And that's fearful and scary even for devotees to see. Even though devotees may know exactly what's going to happen, but when it happens, it's still painful. And then the hosts of demigods, they're very much afraid, offering obeisances. Hosts of great sages and perfected beings crying all peace. Swastyastu Vishwasya. It's actually said here. Swasti ityuktva. It's right there. So, text 22. All the various manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, Vasus, the Sadhyas, the Vishvedevas, the two Ashvis, Maruts, the forefathers, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Asuras, and the perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. They are all such powerful personalities. But then in front of the universal form, nothing. All stunned, astonished. They are all pieces in the big puzzle that Krishna is just, it's his whole big plan. Text 23. O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. As they are disturbed, so am I. So Arjuna is also disturbed. O all-pervading Vishnu, seeing you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouths and your great glowing eyes, my mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind. O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the worlds, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance seeing thus your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth in all directions. I am bewildered. All the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings, and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldier also, are rushing into your fearful mouths, and some I see trapped with their heads smashed between your teeth. As the many waves of rivers flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter blazing into your mouths. I see all people rushing full speed into your mouths as moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible scorching rays. You see, when moths fly into fire, there's just nothing you can do to prevent them. You can feel sorry, it's like, my God, these creatures. And when the moths actually fly into the fire, and then you see them, completely just, going poof, in the fire and, falling onto the ground like that. It's painful to observe this. It's painful to see. But there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. And here, who is Arjuna seeing? He's seeing, Swajanam hi katam hatva sukina syama madhava. Yadyapyete na pashyanti lobo pahata chetasaha. He's saying, Sukina, Swajanam hi, how can I kill my people? Swajanam hi katam hatva. And he's seeing his people, and how is he seeing the most gruesome? They're getting stuck between the teeth. Like, imagine like dissecting an insect when it's alive, pulling its head out or something. Like Krishna and Arjuna is seeing Drona, Bhishma, Karna, these people. It's a very painful thing to see. Even for devotees, it's a painful thing to see. But that is the reality of this universe. Play stupid games, you get stupid results. You get stupid reactions. So be stupid, become stupid. So it's how the universe is. And devotional service is no blank check to act stupid. And that, see, it's by reading these things, Krishna is mercifully showing us something that we don't have to experience ourselves. And we can try to educate others to also not experience this. And this is very important, because the first class intelligent devotee, he learns what to do simply by hearing. Simply by hearing, he avoids nonsense. So by hearing this, if we can avoid a lot of problems. And we can also avoid becoming too perturbed when those who we love, and in spite of our best efforts to help them, face the dispensation of justice by the Supreme Lord. When Supreme Lord, as you will see later in this chapter, Kalos miham, time I am, destroyer. So when that time comes, only Krishna knows. Arjuna was able to see it ahead of time because Krishna showed it to him. This is what's going to happen, Arjuna. Take a look. Here's a trailer. But we don't get to see that. When that time will come, we don't know. When that time will come for us also, we don't know. So, therefore the devotee, when he thinks about this, and when you see how many people have done stupid things, and how much that stupidity costs them, a humble devotee prays to the Supreme Lord, I am also stupid. I am so stupid. O Supreme Lord, please keep me at your lotus feet. Please don't kick me away. Please don't kick me away from your shelter. Dispense your justice, but don't kick me away. Reform me, but keep me close. Keep me under the shelter of my spiritual master. Keep me under the shelter of the association of devotees. This is, you will see Arjuna is exhibiting this mood here. Because it's a fearful thing. It's a fearful thing. Even though Arjuna doesn't have anything to fear, and that's the whole point. Arjuna is a perfected being. All these perfected beings, they are crying all peace. They don't have anything to be afraid of. Yet, out of humility, they are also afraid. Because the perfected beings don't consider themselves perfect. And that is why they are perfect. So therefore, so immediately Krishna pacifies Arjuna. In the end, he says, be pacified. See here my beautiful form. Here, be pacified. There's not enough time, so I wanted to go over these verses. There's so much we can discuss about this chapter here, which otherwise we generally don't discuss this chapter so much. But there's a lot of subject matter in this chapter that we can learn, we can observe, and we can connect it to our lives. And so we have to, by understanding this universal form, we have to learn to see how everything is happening by Krishna's arrangement. If the medicine we take isn't having its effect, that is Krishna's dispensation. If our body is giving us some problem, or somebody else gave us some problem, ultimately it's all happening by Krishna's will. So a devotee, first in any circumstance and in all circumstances, must always think of Krishna and think, okay, Krishna, what should I do here that will please you? What should I do here that will please you? How should I react to this situation? Should I? And it's always confusing, but if the devotee takes shelter of Krishna, tesham evanu kampartam aham ajnana jam tamaha nasayam atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhashvata tesham evanu kampartam. That he destroys, for one who worships him, for one who takes shelter of Krishna, he seated within the heart destroys. And similarly, when we're trying to help someone else also, Krishna is seated in their heart. And we have to recognize that. Krishna, you're seated in his heart. If you want my words to take effect on this person, may it take effect. And may I not say these words out of ego, out of a sense of wanting to please my senses, out of thinking to execute what I want to execute, my plan, the way I think things should happen. And it's very hard. It's very hard because we get pushed by our mind and senses to execute it the exact way we want to execute it. And boy, when we do that, we get frustrated. So frustrated. And it's not easy. It's just not easy. This day-to-day aspect. See, there is a reason why this Virata Rupa comes so much in the Bhagavatam. It comes so many times that every time it's like, again Virata Rupa. Again, all these 23 elements. How many times I have to read these 23 elements, 14 elements, all these different elements, 8 elements, and these different categorizations of the same thing. But we deal with these things every single day, every minute, every moment. It's amazing. And and a devotee has to understand the will of the Supreme Lord, the will of the spiritual master, and only by understanding that will can he understand what his duty is, what he has to do. And so it's first important to recognize that Krishna is in control. And that's something we have to recognize every single minute of our lives. And finally, devotees are ultimately not interested in the universal form. We recognize the universal form and we read about it a lot, but ultimately, we are interested in Krishna's Saumya Rupa, his beautiful form, his attractive form. And devotees have to take effort to develop attraction to this form. It is a very, very important thing to do. It's a very important thing to do. Because this Saumya Rupa of Krishna is the source of all this incredible power that we see in this universe. Is the source of everything, including our own self. And therefore, this arati that Srila Prabhupada has, mercifully given us, called Darshan Arati. It's meant to have darshan. And the prayers that, Krishna inspired Yamuna Mataji to sing, which Srila Prabhupada found most appropriate for this arati, it's actually a complete meditation on Krishna's form. Venum kwanantam aravinda dalaya daksham barhavatam samasitam buddha sundarangam kandar pakoti kamaniya vishesha shobham govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Venum kwanantam, he's playing a beautiful flute. Come and see Krishna's flute. Come and see Krishna playing his flute. See him every day. Don't just stand somewhere looking at the ceiling. It's like, what is there in that damn ceiling? No, I'm serious. I'm looking at this, the socket over there or something like this. Why? What's there? Look, at least Darshan Arati, specifically, we should learn that prayer and go over Krishna's form and have darshan. Take darshan. Come close. Take darshan of Krishna's form. Venum kwanantam aravinda dalaya daksham. Aravinda, these beautiful lotus-shaped eyes. Look at Krishna's eyes. You will become happy. All your problems will go away. Let's look at Krishna's beautiful eyes. He will steal your heart. Aravinda dalaya daksham. Barhavatamsam. He has a beautiful peacock feather. Asitam. It's like on his crown. Barhavatamsam asitam. Buddha sundarangam. And Ambuddha sundarangam. He's colored like a dark rain cloud. Sundarangam. He's got beautiful limbs. Look at those beautiful limbs. Look at his elbows. Look at his shoulder. Look at his beautiful thighs. Look at his beautiful navel. So beautiful. His three-bended form. Kandar pakoti kamani, and He's attracting millions of cupids with this form. The next verse also. The next verse says, this beautiful form is not some ordinary, it's not some work of some Michelangelo or something like that. It's not some Renaissance art. This is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then, what's the next verse? What's the next stanza that we chant on? Angani yasya sakalendriya vritti manti. So, and these transcendental limbs that you're seeing, they can perform the action of anything. So Krishna is seeing us. But He can perform anything with all these limbs. All these limbs are supremely powerful. They can perform the act of each other. Krishna can eat by seeing. He can walk by smelling. How can we imagine? He can do it. He can do it. Angani yasya sakarendi vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayanti chilam jaganti ananda chinmaya rasa sad ujjvala vigrahasya. He's an effulgent form full of bliss. Govindam Adi Purusham. He is the source of everything in this Adi Purusham. The entire universal manifestation is simply a plenary expansion, maintained by a plenary expansion of His. So this is very wonderful meditation that we should engage in during Darshanarti. Not look at the ceiling and look at the floor or this and that, Look at Krishna's form. Take an effort to look at Krishna's form and learn this verse and try to go over this. It's very, very important. Because Arjuna saw that form and his mind became pacified. His mind became happy. If we want our mind to be pacified, if our mind is pacified, how wonderful will it be? Arjuna saw that form and his mind became pacified. Okay, Hare Krishna. We have 5 minutes left. Any questions or comments? Rishi Kumar.
I was just wondering, with the universal form that Arjuna is seeing, is it like allegorical or symbolic? Because there's like he's seeing those personalities getting crushed in the teeth of the universal form, but then, on the battlefield, no, they're not getting like crushed by any mouth. They're getting hit with arrows. So is it happening somewhere?
Well, Krishna says that Arjuna is seeing past, present, and future. Mm-hmm. So he's showing the future. Mm-hmm. They die, they're being crushed by the mouth of time. Mm. So they're seeing that.
Okay.
Anything else? Yes.
Yeah, in the purport it says that this Virat Rupa form is meant to convince the impersonalists that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the 5th canto, and Rishabhadev's instructions, it says that for those who want to make advancement on the spiritual path, they should surrender unto like great personalities, and it says devotees or impersonalists. You know what I'm talking about, that verse? We could put, it's like 5:5:3.
Mm-hmm.
I could read it out real quick. But anyway, my question is that if this Virat Rupa is meant to bring people to the lotus feet of Krishna, why is the Bhagavatam saying that impersonalists are Mahatmas?
Well, impersonalists are, they're transcendentalists, we agree to that, And transcendentalists are great, they're rare, they are, Krishna accepts them as transcendentalists. So, they are also Vedantists, So, it's, now, an impersonalist is considered a Mahatma, a Mayavadi is not, and there's a technical difference between the two. And generally, when impersonalists are praised, we understand that they are not, it's not being referred to them, they're not being referred to as the Mayavadis. Now, at the same time, the Mayavadis are also transcendentalists, but they're offenders to Krishna. So, in this case, the impersonalists are Mahatmas because they've at least had realization of Brahman, which is one of the stages of God realization.
Yeah, I mean, because in the 12th chapter in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that Arjuna asks which path should
Yeah,
he
he
take.
says it's very difficult.
It's troublesome. So if
Right.
those who are intelligent shouldn't even take to it.
Kleshodhikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi ghatir dukkham.
Right. So if a path is very troublesome and somebody is propagating a troublesome path, I just don't see them being a great
Well, at
person.
least there's a path.
Okay. I see.
So, okay, anything from the Matajis? Yes.
Hare Krishna?
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure I was understanding something correctly. So you're speaking about how the elements are all present within our body.
Sorry?
You were speaking about how all of the elements are present within the body.
Yes.
And this example about like chilies when it goes down and we can feel the heat spreading. So do we understand like the elements are present, like the qualities of like fire, water?
The quality cannot be present without the element. Now, it's a combination. It's wonderful how the chili has water, earth, fire, primarily. You can see. It has water because when you break the chili, you'll see water come out. But then, even if that water touches your eye, it's a poof, So, it's water, but there's fire. Amazing, is it not? There's water, but there's fire. But if the fire is not there, the quality of fire cannot be there. Now, it may be manifest in a form that's not just pure, the way pure fire exhibits itself, but the quality is there because the element is there. That is the point. So the elements are there in different ways, but the elements have to be there for the qualities to come. And the elements have their qualities because of the Supreme Lord. And He is the ultimate controller of them. So if Supreme Lord desires, that same chili can be sweet. It can. Krishna can do it by His mystic power. What can He not do? So that's the devotee's vision. Okay, Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpataru.